Hello, brothers and sisters. We the brothers from the Gathering of Christ Church. We're going into a good topic today, dealing with the understanding or teachings of Easter. This time of year, you go to your stores, you go into your supermarkets, you will see eggs, the dyeing of eggs. You'll see bunnies, little yellow bunnies, and people planning the Easter egg hunt and dunking eggs. These festivities, these family festivities that allow the people to come together. Easter Sunday, everyone come together in remembrance of Jesus Christ getting crucified, rising on a third day, or what the church called Easter Sunday. So you might ask yourself, what do bunnies, eggs, and Christ have to do with each other? Why you have some churches dealing with Easter egg hunts, or have everybody coming on Easter Sunday. And I used to wonder, even though the calendar changed each year and the days change each year, you notice Easter Sunday, Easter always falls on a Sunday, regardless of what the calendar is. Easter falls on a Sunday. You have Good Friday, Easter Sunday. So we're going to go into the teachings. Where do Easter come from? Do the day Easter have anything to do with Jesus Christ? Was pagans or Gentiles following the worship of Easter before Christ was born? All these and more will be answered for you. Where's the first place you see the word Easter? We're going into the Holy Bible, the King James Version, the regular King James Holy Bible, the same Bible you may have on your mantelpiece. And we're going to go into the word Easter and see if it's in the Bible. Let's go to Acts 12 and 4.
Acts 12 and 4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quadrants of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. We found out through study that that word Easter was put in the Bible because the Catholic Church integrated pagan worship, which is the goddess Star or Easter, with Christianity or the words of the Bible. So in order to give credence to their holiday, they took out the word Passover there and put in the word Easter. So how do we know this? Now, we don't own any printing presses. This is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Okay? And in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, I highlighted where it says Easter, in parentheses, it says Passover. Rendered Easter in Acts 12 and 4. But correctly translated Passover. Okay? Alright. So now, if it was correctly translated, if you go into the Greek, the word Passover was really there. You may ask yourself, if the churches or the mother church is dealing with Christ, why would they purposely omit the festival that Christ was dealing with? He was actually crucified on the night of the Passover. Why would they purposely omit the Passover, the days the Israelites were dealing with? You know the Passover that came down in Egypt and killed the firstborn, that didn't put the blood of the people, that didn't put the blood on their doors. That Passover represented liberation for God's people out of Egypt. Later on, it represented Christ being the Passover, Him giving up His flesh, Him giving His blood for the sins of His people on Passover night. Sitting down with the disciples, letting them know to do this in remembrance of Him. Now, if the churches are dealing with the Spirit of Christ, why would they diabolically This is a diabolical tactic. Why would they take the word Passover out of Acts and just slip in the word Easter? Maybe the pagans were dealing with the Easter god or the goddess Astar. We'll see. Give me Job 13 and 4. Job 13 and 4. Because we know they that would worship Christ or God must worship him in spirit and in truth. Read Job 13 and 4 for me, please.
But ye are forgers of lies.
They are what?
But ye are forgers of lies.
They are forgers of lies. So you would have an institution sit down and forge new teachings in the book to give credence or authority to a Gentile teaching. Let's get 1 Corinthians 10 and 20. And read that. Read that.
But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils.
The Lord says the things that the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils. So in 325 AD, when the Roman Catholic Church or the Romans integrated Christianity with paganism, they did that so that they can allow the masses or teach the masses to sacrifice to these new gods or devils. Read that again.
But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God.
And not to God. They're just using God's name. And they do this because if they was to tell you, listen, you're following Satan, the masses would not follow it willingly. So they slip God and Christ in so you can willingly follow Satan. Satan himself appears as an angel of light. Read on.
And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils.
So the Lord don't want his people or his followers to have any fellowship with devils. I know some people will say, well, I know that Easter don't have anything to do with Christ, but I'm doing it in remembrance of Christ. I know Christmas don't have nothing to do with Christ, but I do it in remembrance of Christ. Well, if you know it doesn't have anything to do with Christ, how can you bring Christ in it? Okay, you're just as guilty as the Catholic Church, who put Easter in his Holy Bible when the word was Passover. You can't make new days and excuse it. The Lord didn't make the world so that you can excuse it for yourself. He made the world so that you can follow him. You can't fit God into your program. Read.
Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils.
You can't say you down with God, but dealing with a day that was purposely set up to worship devils or demons or demonic forces. I don't care how good you worship. If you're doing it on a day that was set up to follow a demonic god, you're following that demonic god. Read.
Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils.
You cannot say I'm down with Jesus Christ or down with God and you're partaking and sitting down at the table with the devil. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. Now, let's examine that for a second. You show me where the disciples were celebrating Easter. You can't find it. You show me where Christ rose on Easter Sunday. We're going to show you, you cannot find it. You cannot get 3 days between Good Friday and Sunday. Try it. Saturday, Sunday. If he died on Friday, you understand, you count 2 days from Friday. The next day is Saturday. The next day would be Sunday. We're going to go into that further also. There's a reason why it falls every year on Friday, Good Friday, and we celebrate the goddess Astar's son on Sunday, or the worshiping of the sun on that Sunday. We're going to show you. You're going to find that these teachings are so further away from Christ. They have nothing to do with God or Christ and have no Bible backing. Now, here's a book. It's out of print now. It's called The Two Babylons and the Worship Proved to be the Worship of Nimrod and His Wife by Alexander Hislop. And this book was compiled in 1932. Okay? And in this book, what Alexander Hislop attempted to do with a lot of references is to reference the modern Western world teachings of Christianity and parallel them with the ancient teachings of Egypt and Babylon, to let you know that the worship we're doing in the Western world in America have nothing to do with the Israelites or Jesus Christ. They were purposely set in the church, the papal church. They were purposely set with the authority to bring forth the same teachings of ancient Babylon. They was purposely set with the authority to bring in the new teachings of ancient Babylon and ancient Egypt. I'm going to read some passages out of this, and I'm going to show you if you can pan in on some of these images. I'm going to show you some of these images, and we're going to show you first where the egg come in. I want you to go and pan in on the egg to my right, to your left. The egg wrapped with a snake around it. Right? You got it? And then you have another one right next to it. That's, and these are the type of eggs that sit on your mantelpiece. You don't even know why you buy eggs as ornaments or knickknacks. Sit on your mantelpiece. You have one with a crescent moon on the top or horns on the top. And you have another egg right here as in the form of a ship. Under ancient Babel teachings or Babylonian teachings, they said the goddess Astar came down in an egg and it hatched. The mother of the sun child. Now you understand each year why you have your children dunking eggs in water and it's coming out a new color, shiny. Because it says that the egg landed into the river Euphrates and came up and floated and it hatched. And when you dunk your egg in the water, it's a representation of the goddess Astar coming down in an egg into the river Euphrates, out of the water, hatching. The mother of the sun. Ancient Babylonian teachings. I'm going to read this passage here. It says here, in the sacred festivals, even as in this country, in ancient times, eggs were used in the religious rites of the Egyptians and the Greeks, and were hung from the mystic purposes in their temples. From Egypt, these sacred eggs can be distinctly traced to the banks of the Euphrates. The classic poets are full of the fable of the mystic egg of the Babylonians, and thus its tale is told by Hyginus the Egyptian, the learned keeper of the Palatine Library at Rome, in the time of Augustus, who was skilled in all the wisdom of his native country. An egg is a wondrous size, to say it to have fallen from heaven into the river Euphrates. The fishes rolled it to the bank, where the doves, having settled upon it, and hatched it. And came Venus, who afterwards was called the Syrian goddess, that is, Asteroid. Hence, the egg has become one of the symbols of Asteroid, of Easter, and accordingly in Cyprus, one of the chosen seats of the worship of Venus. As Asteroid, the egg of wondrous size was represented on a grand scale. The occult meaning of this mystic egg of Asteroid in one of its aspects, for it had a twofold significance. Had reference to the ark during the time of the flood, in which the whole human race was shut up, and the chick is enclosed in the egg before it is hatched. Now you see, that's why you have the chicks from Rite Aid. When you go into Rite Aid, you see those little yellow marshmallow chicks. That's where that comes from. Alright? So, and it shows the goddess holding an egg with a dove next to her on the next page. Pan in on this. Okay, you have it? So now, we done broke down the Easter side of things, so we know that Christ have nothing to do with Easter. Alright? Easter was a word that was put in the Bible by the Roman Catholic Church, brought over to the Americas to have the Western world, the slaves that were enslaved in the Western world, following Gentile worships and pagan deities and gods, which are nothing different than demons. There's more. I'm going to read this here. It says, in ancient Middle Eastern, I took some passages myself out of the book, so I don't have to keep holding the book. It says, in ancient Middle Eastern culture, these pagan festivals commonly welcome worship of the pagan gods Baal, which is Satan, and Aster, where people would engage in ritualistic sex in effort to honor the pagan god deities and hope that the pagan gods would make the people fertile that year. Now, when you look into eggs and bunnies, that represents fertility, or the goddess of sex. Having a lot, that's why you have bunnies. Bunny lays a lot of eggs, so you see bunnies this time of year. I mean, bunnies, excuse me, don't lay eggs. Bunnies have a lot of offspring. Bunnies have a lot of offspring. So they have the bunnies, because they are very, very, very fertile animals. Then you have the eggs, which represents what? Life, fertility. Alright? It says here, so Easter actually is not biblically based, but instead derived from ancient pre-Christian pagan gods, such as the Chaldean fertility goddess Aster, who is also known as Astereth and Ishtar, interchangeably. But you should also know that this pagan deity is mentioned in the Bible. Associated with Ishtar was the young god Tammuz in Ezekiel 8 and 14. Consider both divine and mortal. Ishtar is a mother goddess, fertility goddess, a goddess of the spring, a storm goddess, a warrior goddess, and goddess of war, a goddess of a hunt, a goddess of love, goddess of marriage and childbirth, and a goddess of fate. You can find that yourself on Rocklopedia.com. When you look into the book, it says the festival of which we read in church history under the name Easter in the 3rd or 4th centuries was quite a different festival from the now observed in the Romish or Protestant church, and at that time was not known by any such name as Easter. It was called Pesach, or the Passover, and was very early observed by many professing Christians, to let you know that the Christians early were dealing with the Passover. The festival agreed originally with the time of the Jewish Passover, when Christ was crucified. That festival was not idolatrous, and it was preceded by no Lent. Lent is also a pagan ritual that's from ancient Babylon. We're going to give you some history. At the Council of Nicaea in 325, all the churches agreed that Easter should be celebrated on Sunday following the first full moon. Now we understand why it falls on Sunday each year. And they make sure, it doesn't matter what month, March or April, they make sure it falls right after that moon, the first Sunday. Right? And it says, all the churches, now the church, this happened in the church. That's why the Lord says, be not deceived. Many shall come in my name saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. The deception will come within the churches. It says, and all the churches agree that Easter should be celebrated on Sunday following the first full moon after the vernal equinox. The Roman Catholic Church used its dominant influence to merge different ideas into Christianity and persecuted the true followers of God who kept his commandments, and those who kept the commandments had to do so in secrecy at this time in history. So those that were really following Christ had to do it totally separate from the Roman Christian life. If they were found following the true teachings of Passover and they were Christians, they were persecuted and ridiculed by the Catholic Church. It says the earliest Christians celebrated the Lord's Passover at the same time as the Jews during the night of the first full moon of the month of spring. Alright? Now I'm going into the egg. The mystic egg of Babylon, hatching the Venus Ishtar, fell from heaven to the Euphrates. Dyed eggs were sacred Easter offerings in Egypt. So when you dye your eggs, understand that you're dealing with Egyptology. Evil Egyptology at that. As they were still in China and Europe, Easter or spring was a season of birth, terrestrial or celestial. You can find this information in the Egyptian Belief and Modern Thought, page 211 and 212. We're living in a pagan world, folks. And they're using Christ to bring forth this paganism. And you have some people who don't go to church the whole year, but they'll be there on Easter Sunday. All right. Let's go to Matthew, the 27th chapter, to show you when Christ rose. Okay, now we're going to go into the day that they're using as an excuse to follow Easter, which is the Passover, the night Christ was crucified. And we're going to show you, beyond any shadow of a doubt, there's no way you can get 3 days between Friday and Sunday. That's number one. You can only get 2 days before that, between Friday and Sunday. So what we're going to go into is to show you what really happened. When did Christ get crucified? When did he rise? Let's go to Matthew 26. And we're going to start at the 17th verse. Matthew 26 and 17.
Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
To eat the Passover. As you can see, Passover, Easter is Bible when you look into the Greek. Go ahead.
And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The Master saith, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
I will do what?
I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
I will keep the Passover with my disciples. So that's number one. Christ kept the Passover feast. Alright? As a matter of fact, it was done so that the disciples from that day forward can remember the Passover in remembrance of that last Passover feast. That's what that is what the disciples were following until the Nicene Council in 325 came and switched it to Easter. Now, let's go to 1 Corinthians 10 and 16. Read that.
The cup of the blessing which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of Christ? The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of Christ? For we being many are one bread and one body, for we are all partakers of that one bread.
So it says we are all partakers of that one bread. And see, and that's what Christ told the disciples to do in remembrance of him. He says, take this bread and eat it, for it's my body. Take this wine and drink it, for it's my blood that is shed for the remission of sins. That happened on Passover night. Now, we're going to go into counting, as far as counting how many days it took for Christ to get crucified, and when did it happen. Go to Matthew 12 and 40. Matthew 12 and 40, going into counting the days here. Read that. Matthew 12 and 40.
For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth.
He shall be in the earth. How long?
3 days and 3 nights.
3 days and 3 nights. That's complete. Can you get 3 days and 3 nights between Friday and Sunday? That's a shame, because the people are so deceived in this earth, we don't even count. Saturday, it's on a Friday now, crucified. Saturday, Sunday. Go to Matthew, the 27th chapter, and the 59th verse, through the 63rd verse, to see when Christ rose from the dead. And you cannot count the day you're in. You can't say Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He's in Friday if you're saying that he died on Good Friday. It says in 3 days he's going to be in the earth 3 days and 3 nights. So if it's Friday, count 3 days and 3 nights from Friday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, if you're going by the Good Friday teaching from the Roman Catholic Church today. 3 days and 3 nights is Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And if that's what they're teaching is true, why are they celebrating on a Sunday if he died on Good Friday? You have to count. Now I know, a lot of you pastors, and you're going to shake up your church because you know what you're seeing is true. You can count. You can go to a kindergarten person and say, give me 3 days between Friday and Monday, and will that add up to 3 days? A kindergarten will tell you, yes, that's 3 days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. A kindergarten student can count to 3. Come on, man. 2 days. So right there, that's throwing off Christ's whole resurrection and everything. That means the Bible is not true. That means Christ rose in 2 days when God says he would rise in 3 days. Let's go to Matthew 27 and 59.
And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. And there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary sitting over against the sepulchre. Now the next day that followed the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that the deceiver said, well, he was yet alive
so after 3 days. Christ a deceiver. Go ahead.
While he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again.
After 3 days I will rise again. So they remember Christ saying, listen, after 3 days I will rise. So when did Christ rise? Go to Matthew 28, 1 through 7.
In the end of the Sabbath.
In the end of the Sabbath. Now the Sabbath is Saturday. Let's make it clear. The Sabbath is not Sunday. Sunday is the first day of the week. The Sabbath is the seventh day of the week. So if the Lord says in Exodus the 20th chapter to remember the Sabbath and to keep it holy, and don't forget that's one of the 10 commandments now, why would the Roman Catholic Church come around and purposely switch the Sabbath, which is holy to the Lord, to the first day of the week? Because that's Satan. Satan would switch everything that God had instituted. God say do it on the seventh day. Satan say do it on the Sunday. Worship the sun on the first day of the week. That's why it's called Sunday. The Egyptians and the Babylonians and the Greeks were worshiping the sun god. It says, in the end of the Sabbath. Now, let's get some understanding on the days before the Romans or the Greeks started switching up the calendars. A day really starts when the sun goes down. A day don't start with light. Darkness came first. Let's prove that. Let's go to Genesis, the first chapter. It's easy to understand. Genesis, the first chapter. And we're going to start at the third verse. Matter of fact, start at the first verse. Let's see what came first. Read.
In the beginning God created heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
It was totally dark. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. Go ahead.
And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light.
So what came first? Darkness. The Lord says, let there be light. Darkness came first. Read.
And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night.
Go ahead.
And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Say that again.
And the evening and the morning were the first day.
So how do you complete a day? The evening come first, then the morning. So days are from evening till evening. Like under the old Jew calendar. Like the Jewish people follow today. So the Sabbath start Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. That's the Sabbath. So when you see the sun going down on Friday, that's the Sabbath. Until the sun go down on Saturday, which is the seventh day. Because darkness comes first. So when the sun go down, you're in a new day. See, the Romans or the Greeks did what? Go to Daniel 7 and 25, and then we're going to go back to Matthew's, the 28th chapter. They did what? Read that.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
So that's what they did. The powers of this earth spoke great words against the Most High, switching everything the Lord established in this book and making new days and new holidays, new holy days, and calling them holidays. Saying, listen, I don't care about the Sabbath of God. I'm going to make everybody worship the sun on Sunday. Speaking great words. When someone speaks great words against God, they're speaking words against His word, which is the Bible. It's speaking against the Bible. Read.
And think to change times and laws.
It says they shall think to change times and laws. Now will they do it? No. Because every 30 days there's a new moon. So they can think to do what they want. But as long as they're new moons, that's a new month. So the time is still going on correctly, even though they think to change times and laws. See, Satan is behind these diabolical plots to get everyone worshiping him. Now let's go back to Matthew 28. Going back to the first verse. Go ahead.
In the end of the Sabbath.
At the end of the Sabbath now, don't forget the sun is about to go down Saturday night, going into a new day. Read.
As it began to dawn toward the first day.
It was about to be Sunday, because when the sun go down on Saturday, you're really in the first day of the week. So don't forget, this was before Sunday even came. Read.
As it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
Go ahead.
And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and become as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come see the place where the Lord lay.
See that? So before the Sabbath was over, Christ had already resurrected. He already left. So he was actually gone before what they call Sunday. You see that? So that's crystal clear. Now you definitely cannot get 3 days between Friday and Saturday, Sunday. We need to count. Christ was crucified on a Wednesday. On a Wednesday when the sun was going down. And he resurrected right before the end of the Sabbath, which is 3 days. Wednesday sundown to Thursday sundown, Thursday sundown to Friday sundown, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. 3 whole days. And nights. Wednesday sundown to Thursday sundown. Thursday sundown to Friday sundown. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. We have to do spiritual Sesame Street around here, man. We have to count to 3 to let you know that what they're teaching in the churches is incorrect.